I can do it. Overdrive! Hello folks, welcome to Netcruzer RC. Alright, we got a new unboxing for you today, and it's by a company that I've never had an RC from before. If you saw my little live show in the car last week, you already know what it is. Element RC Enduro Trailwalker. Well, this is made by Associated Electronics, and it shows. So you can tell immediately when you start looking at this truck that it's been designed by a company that knows how to do RC and RC very well, and also has a racing heritage. So some of the things you look at it, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. This is the first crawler that I've ever had which has smaller diameter tires. This is what I would consider to be a class 1 crawler. Its rim diameter size is 1.55 inches and its tire diameter size is around 3.8 inches. So I believe that fits into class 1. This is the first small tire crawler that I have. It's also the first crawler that I have that does not have portal axles. The box does a pretty good job of showing you all the things that you get with this truck. It does have a single speed transmission, but the unique thing about this truck is that it has a front overdrive. So the gear case is split where it has gears front and the back wheel runs at a different rotational speed than the front wheel. Out of the box, it comes with a 5.7% front overdrive. Front wheel is turning 5.7% faster than the rear. And at first I didn't really know what that's for. What it's for is to help you climb up and over rocks without the truck falling backwards. It's driving the front wheel more. If you look at something like the axial stuff they've been doing lately, they've been putting in a dig, which means that they're just locking the rear wheels where you're dragging your wheels. That I don't really like that much. I think this is a better implementation, to be honest. So out of the box it comes with a 5.7% front overdrive. They also include the gears in the kit to give you 11.8% front overdrive. And then if you want to remove overdrive completely, you can go and buy the 1-to-1 gears so that the front will run at the same speed as the rear. I have not actually ran this RC yet. This is a truly true unboxing. You're going to get to see some of my first setup of the truck. I'm going to leave it stock at that 5.7% front overdrive for the first couple of runs, just to get used to it, because the type of driving that I do is a lot of trail running, and so there's quite a bit of driving between obstacles. It's not purely rock crawling. If you were going to 100% be rock crawling all the time, I would say maybe put in those almost 12% front overdrive gears, because that's what it's mostly designed for, is to climb up and over things. So think about that, how you're going to run the truck. I do like that. There's other things you get in this kit which will make it more adjustable to how you like to run your RC crawler. So another great job by Element RC. These are 12.3 inch wheelbase. That's the other difference, is that all my other crawlers are a little bit longer. My TRX4 is a long wheelbase one, 12.8 inches, and my Red Cat Gen 8 is, I think it's around like 12.5 right now. I shrunk it down to its smallest wheelbase, but it's still not a 12.3 inch crawler. So this one will be my squattest wheelbase and the lowest CG. I'm hoping that having this one will teach me a bit better crawling skills, because I tend to just overpower it, I get frustrated, I get rammy on the throttle. This one being a small tire crawler and not having the extra axle clearance of having portal axles will make you really concentrate on what your lines need to be to get up and over obstacles. So I'm looking forward to that challenge. Also, the whole truck just looks more scale because of it. This truck is the second model that came out under the Element RC Enduro chassis. Currently all of their crawling models use the same chassis, but they've tweaked them all for different models. So the Sendero is the 1.9 inch tire. The Trailwalker is the 1.55 inch wheel with a kind of a open bed style truck. Now the body is a little bit different. The body is a singular mold versus the Sendero is a dual piece mold where the rear box can come off of the Sendero. You cannot do that with the Trailwalker. One piece body, but I think it's a quite nice looking body. It's a nice bright blue. It'll come up on video well. It does include lights, and you get a squatter, nicer front bumper versus the Sendero. The Sendero has a very big, bulky, wide front and back bumpers, and they get caught up on everything. The Trailwalker has a nicely more tucked front bumper and no rear bumper. The only bumper on the back is from the body itself. The other kit that just came out is the Trail Runner. Now the Trail Runner adds their independent front suspension to this chassis, and then it looks like a Toyota 4Runner. The chassis is also available in a builder's kit, as well as the IFS, the independent front suspension, is available as a modular upgrade kit. Now upgrade is more so just for style. IFS does not really give you any additional crawling performance. It's mostly just a style thing. So I'm not really into the IFS. I don't really agree with IFS on a crawler. Enough waffling about the box. But there is one other really cool thing about the box, and that is that it turns into a scale garage. So we need to flip the box inside out, and everything that Element makes becomes scale garages. So we'll have to figure out how to build that. All their boxes flip inside out, and then it gives you like a diorama for making a scale garage. Do that later. Let me show you the truck first. The extra accessories, we got an extended battery tray, some rear post mounts. This is the extra gearing, so you can get that 11-degree overdrive to the front, and some other just random bits and pieces. We got some documentation. I believe this is the radio here on the bottom. Okay, here's my truck. I've already had it out of the box for about a week, but I've been busy with work and I didn't get a chance to even run it or do anything with it yet. So this is truly an unboxing, but the only thing I've done is I've added some little accessories, like I've just got it ready to do some mild crawling, so I added some toe straps. I added all the accessories that come in the box, such as the little wing mirrors. There's a GoPro camera accessory. You get 3 of those. And I decided to put one on here, as well as I put on the front little FM radio whip. So you can choose where you want that stuff to be. There's little indentations in the body that show you where you can place those stuff, but you can put them on either side. And then on the front, the grill is molded plastic with light buckets, and you do get 2 real LED lights in these light ones. The indicators do not light up, but there's light buckets behind those as well, so you could add that after if you wanted to. I added this 4-pot array. You don't get those lights with it, you just get the bumper, but there's enough stuff going on with this bumper where I thought that was pretty neat that you could add stuff in. So there is a fair lead hole here. So what I did was I just did 2 zip ties through the fair lead hole and then zip tied these lights into place. And I will show you how easy it is to add lights in a minute, because I do really like what they've done with the electronics on this thing. And this one's more of like a late 80s square body truck. Side profile I think looks a lot like a square body Chevy. Very front of it kind of looks like a Bronco. The truck bed has a very mild step in the box, so there is a little bit of room where you could put some stuff in here. I might add some things in the box, but it's not very deep. The rear of it is just stickers, decals, or decals, depending on where you're from. The rear little, there's a lot of little plastic details. So this is not a sticker. This is actually a clip-on piece. This plastic wiper blades that work. They just poke in through the body, and then on the underside of the body, they're held on with these little black little plastic washers. All the accessories run off standard servo style connections, which is awesome, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Here's the inside of the body where you can see some of the light buckets and stuff I was talking about. Very simple pigtail to the wiring harness. None of the inside of this is kind of protected in any way, so I might add some Gorilla Tape Clear, but for now I might just also run it. Alright, here's the chassis. When you first get the chassis out of the box, it comes with a shorter battery tray. It comes with the shorty style already connected to it. And that seems like an odd choice, but it also seems like a very Team Associated style choice, because they make a lot of these little shorty style Reedy packs. Reedy is Team Associated's electronics division. For me, I just wanted the versatility of always being able to run a stick pack. I have a lot of old 2S stick packs. I think that this RC is going to be more suited for 2S running. Also, that's a difference between my other crawlers, which really are great for 3S, because my other crawlers have gear reduction based on portal axles and higher turn motors. This one comes with a 16-turn Reedy 5-slot, a 16-turn Reedy brushed motor, a nice Reedy brushed ESC. It is a sealed can, non-adjustable motor system, but it's 16 turn, which means it's going to be fairly quick motor for a crawler. I'm kind of gearing this up to be run as a 2S truck all the time, unless I get out on the trail and I decide that it's way too slow for that. But I think it's going to be okay. The servo included is a Reedy, and it's a Metal Gear metal body. I believe it's just standard analog servo. It actually doesn't say if it's digital or analog, but it's a 13 kilogram, which is around 173 ounce inches. and it seems okay. It's not the quickest thing in the world, and they put a plastic horn on it, so that's something you might want to do. But there is something very unique about the setup of this chassis, and that's how they designed the front steering. All my other crawlers have a panhard bar which goes across the front. So one of the first things that gets hit is that bar. This one has it behind the axle, which is pretty cool. Let me pull the camera in closer and I can show you that. You can see in here it's got a metal top on the C-hub, and instead of having this panhard bar that I'm pointing to in behind on the front, it actually moves it into behind. So it sits behind everything, which is great. I think that's a great idea. It just sits there above the axle. It's got a bit of a bend to it, but overall there's no real bump steer that I can see. Unlike the Gen 8, the Gen 8 had horrendous bump steer. This one seems to have none, so it means that they got their geometry right for all the links and stuff. The first thing you're going to hit when you approach things is the very bottom of this pumpkin, and this is plastic, but it seems like it's fairly robust and it's squared off, so everything on the bottom of this chassis is smoothed out. So the bottom of this thing is pretty smooth, and it is a 4-link design, 5mm links too, which is awesome. The drive axles are metal on the inside, so it's plastic on either end, but then a metal inside, really coarse spline too. This thing is pretty well designed. The only thing missing that I think I would want would be inner fender wells. Overall, I'm really digging the design of this thing. It's simple, it's exceedingly light. It's very, very light compared to my other crawlers, and all the weight is up front from the battery here, and the weight is down low because the motor is down here in the center near the bottom. So unlike my other crawlers that have the motor can up at the front and up high, this one, most of the weight is down low and also towards the front. So there's very little weight on the rear, which actually for crawling is a pretty good thing. So the rear is very open, but you can add stuff to it later if you want. There is some adjustability in wheelbase if you want to, but out of the box it comes at 12.3. And then I just want to talk to you about the electronics a little bit. You get a pretty huge receiver box. Nice thing about this is you get a 3-channel XP130 radio with it, with all the adjustability of setting endpoints and stuff with analog dials. Trims and endpoints, all analog dials, very good. And instead of a momentary switch for 3rd channel, it's actually a real switch, so you can set it and then just let it run a winch or something. I like that better than a momentary button. I think the radio that you get with it is pretty good, other than it feeling a little bit lightweight. Like for its design, it just doesn't feel like it's dense enough, but overall feel of everything is nice. And on the electronic speed control, which is a reedy unit, you get 2 additional accessory ports. So that means that there's 4 accessory ports immediately available on this truck to plug things into. So I'm currently using one to run those front lights that I installed already. So this connector is just part of the lights. That does not come on the truck. You get these little pigtails. You get 2 off the ESC. And if I want to add 2 additional accessories in the future, there's 2 more plugs available on the receiver. It is a high clearance frame. You can see how much it kicks up there. So it's a C-channel stamped steel metal frame, and then all the accessories just kind of clamp onto it. Here's the link setup. I think it's very robust design, actually, how they've done all that. The only thing that's weird is that the actual pivot balls in this are plastic. So every link connection, instead of it being a metal ball inside of this, it's plastic. For wet running, it might actually be better for maintenance, where you don't have to worry about it. I could just spray those with a dry lube or something, and they would probably run quite well. I think before my first run, I'm just going to coat the whole thing with my specialist dry lube spray, and that should keep everything free and moving and clean for quite some time. From this angle, the other benefit that you can see by running the wider battery tray is that it gives you almost a slight inner fender, versus if you run the shorty tray, you don't really get any of that. I might add some little Lexan guards, or I'm going to look up to see if they make a fender kit available. I heard there was a fender kit available, but I've never seen it, so I don't know what its part number is or anything, but I'll look it up. The other thing that I'm very impressed with is these wheels and tires. This is something I did not even know when I bought it, but these are fully licensed tires, and the rim size is 1.55, which is a little bit smaller than normal, but that's what makes it class 1. And the tires themselves are very impressive. They're nice and soft, but look at all the siping in the treads. I love that, where the amount of manufacturing that went into these is quite impressive, being that they're fully licensed, and all these lugs have like 3 or 4 sipes all the way through them. That gives you a lot more contact patch area when you're crawling up on rocks. To me, this is a lot like a high rack style tire, and those tires are quite expensive in Canada. They're almost $40 for two. And so with this whole truck, you're looking at getting almost $80 to $100 worth of tires and rims with it. The rims, the wheels themselves look very simple and almost kind of cheap in this kind of primary gray, but they're actual beadlocks. They're 3-piece wheels. Those screws all around that you see on the outside of the hub are functional. You take those out, the whole rim pops apart, and that's how you can change these wheels and tires if you need to. What else is there to talk about? Oh, the shocks. The shocks are very nice. They're team associated truck shocks, well respected in the industry. Really, these have absolutely no problems. They're metal with threaded collars. Even this adjustment collar here is metal, and the bottom of the spring perch is metal. The only thing plastic on them is the shock cap, but even the shock cap itself has a lot of plastic around it, so there's no problems there. Changing the gears in the transmission is fairly simple, but it does require taking the whole transmission out of the truck. You can do it in about 8 screws, but you do have to take the whole transmission out to split the case to put in the gears. Also, no slipper adjustment on this truck. It's a direct drive style. When you open it up, it looks like it has a slipper, but it's just the way how the spur gets clamped in is just by these hexagonal plates, and there is no adjustment. So that's why there's nothing to open there to screw down, because it's always fully locked. All the videos that I've seen about making the box scale garage, none of them actually showed how easy it was to flip it inside out. So I'm hoping the glue isn't too harsh on here. Oh man, this box is kicking my butt. I just got the paper cut of all paper cuts. You don't even want to see that, but that's sliced my whole finger open. All right. I guess I'm not really getting this scale garage put together because I got to do some other things, but ripping the box apart, the glue, no, didn't really work out well for me, but I'm hoping that parts get hidden. A little bit more assembly to this than I thought, because the way it folds up doesn't work out. Like this, you're going to have to cut this off of the floor, and this one matches up with this one, so there's assembly required. I couldn't find the instructions. I'm going to look into it some other time, and then you'll see some Instagram idea of what it will become. 10 scale garage, free with every Element RC purchase. One of the very nice things you get with this ready to run package is a full instruction kit, which gives you the full instructions of how to build it as if it was a kit. That's fairly rare for RTR. Usually you do not get full build instructions with an RTR vehicle. You just get a couple of things about like exploded parts diagram maybe and telling you to go online. This one, it's as if you could rebuild the whole thing from start to finish. Written as gates, so it's like you're doing an actual trail competition. That's kind of fun. Really nicely designed book. You also get separate documentation for the radio. I did seem to notice that the electronic speed control does auto calibration, so there's likely no throttle and brake adjustments you have to do. It seems to calibrate itself every time you turn it on. But endpoints for steering, you want to dial that in with your with the settings that are on here, so that you're not overdriving that servo to try and make it last as long as you can. Just one other thing about the radio, it does take 4 AA batteries, not included. Confused me at first, and I did not read the book. That's my bad, but I thought it was low batteries on brand new batteries it put in. It's not. It always lights up those 2 lights when you turn it on. As with the speed control, there's no switch, so you can't turn it on and off. The only way you can turn it on and off is by the plug, or if you use bullet connections. Then as soon as I power it on, it turns on. It also does the self-calibration, so just remember that if you're going to be using this as a trail truck and you like to leave your batteries plugged in all the time, that means that the truck is on all the time. You have to unplug the battery to turn the truck off. You also get a manual for the speed controller, so if you want to learn all about the speed controller, you get documentation for everything, which is great to see in an RTR product. One last thing is that you do get some stickers, decals, or decals with this, and as a nice little nod to YouTubers, there's a Harley design sticker, there's a Scale Builders Guild, and there's a Hemi-Storm in here as well. As well as a bunch of fun little bumper stickers and stuff, and plate things. There's some accessories you can add in. I think I want to put on these end cap ones on the wheel wells, because that's one thing, is that these wheels look a little cheap where they're all gray, and so just by putting a sticker in the center, it will make them kind of look a little bit more realistic. So I'm going to add a couple of stickers. And then we're going to get this out on the trail, because I've been talking for way longer than I thought I would about this thing. I didn't think there was that much to say about it, but then once you get into it, there really is. I think the first place I'm going to take it is the Tank RC, the Sims crawler course. We'll go out there and we'll get a couple of shots and then maybe a full running video. So at this point, the truck is powered on. Here are the lights. I do like that this front light that I put on kind of matches the color temperature of the others, so that's a pretty sick look. Remember, you do not get these bush bar lights with it, but They're also just zip tied on here. They might get knocked off because they're a little bit protruding, but we'll see how they hold up on the trail. I'm going to take it out to the Tank RC's trail for the first run. This is how quiet the truck is. I do also like that. And that's wheel speed on 2S. And you do get a pretty good steering angle. 45-degree steering, that's the speed of the steering. Right on. Let's get out there, take it on the trails.
You don't have to dig up the rope.
Honestly, guys, so far, having tiny tires, smaller battery, lightweight truck is actually being easier than heavy body, high center of gravity with the portals.
I don't think so. I think you're gonna have to go around too.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe if we
You're just almost.
we get a little piece
Oh,
of
the other one. There you go.
morning out of my place. Here I'm spraying bug spray on me and truck comes down behind me.
Oh, did it
There
melt
goes
the plastic?
finish on the box.
Yeah.
Part of the fenders. And I was like, oh well. What do you do?
Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.